Alright, hello and welcome back people to Katawa Shoujo. It's been quite some time since I recorded this last, so don't really recall what, but we're going in anyway. Alright, let's see. Ah yes, we were going to find a present for Hanako. That's right. I'm probably not going to do too well since it's been quite some time since I've recorded anything, really. And it's been even longer since I've recorded this, so yeah. The store has a strange murky scent to it. The layout is more like a garage, damn it. Garage than a store. Things are strewn around the floor without any immediate semblance of order. Yeah, I'm gonna do bad. Oh well. Who cares? The shopkeeper gives us an almost bored look, though he has practically small eyes. His face looks weary and tired, and his dress style is distinctively He gives us a polite nod and welcome before going back to his book. Lily holds tightly onto my arm, and I find myself having to split my efforts between making sure we don't miss a potential gift for Hanako and making sure Lily doesn't inadvertently bump into anything. The task is quite difficult, given the hazardous way the store is laid out and the many things poking out of the shelves they're on or sitting on pieces of furniture, but eventually we safely arrive at an old desk covered in dolls and teddy bears. I think this is the right place. There's pretty much every kind of doll you could imagine here. That should make the choice much simpler. Could you please pick one for me, Hisao? I had a feeling that it would come to this. I picture Hanako in my mind and try to imagine which of the dolls before me would suit her the best. My eyes wander across the collection. Each one is as exquisite as the one before it. The sheer number of styles is boggling, but eventually one catches my eye. Here, what about this one? I pick up a small porcelain doll that looks to be at least somewhat affordable, dressed in a Victorian-era green dress with a little brown hat sitting atop its blonde hair. It looks a little like Lily. I gently pass it to her, who delicately feels her way around the object while wearing a look of slight concentration. It certainly feels beautiful. Do you think it would suit Hanako, in your opinion? I think it would. It could look good in her room. In that case, I'll trust your judgment. Will you be getting her something as well, or shall we be a shared gift? I'm not sure. I think I could get her something myself, but I don't think getting her another doll is such a great idea, maybe. I let my voice trail off as I look around the shop. Resting on a writing table not far from us is a decorative box that catches my eye. Wait here, I think I found something. My, that was fast. I gingerly walk through the collection of crystal glassware and pick up the box. The wooden sides are covered in carvings depicting ancient battles around a castle. The top, however, looks far too familiar. Alternating squares of white and black varnished wood are arranged on the lid. That's a really nice item. It's a chess set from overseas. The store's owner sudden appearance startles me a little, and I didn't see him approaching at all. I suppose he's trying to help us because we don't really look like we know where we're looking for. Or, on the other hand, maybe he wants to keep an eye on us because he suspects we might shoplift instead. I am looking for a present for a friend. I see. In that case, this chess set would make a fine choice. Realization floods into my mind that this is a pretty good looking set, but this is an antique shop. They're not well known for bargain prices. How old is this? This is a reproduction. My best estimate is that it's about 5 years old. I see. How much? He thinks a little before telling me, which is slightly disconcerting. I'll let you take this now for 7,000 yen. I balk a little. I wasn't expecting to spend that much, but this does seem perfect. Then again, maybe that's a statement to how well he worked out how much he could make me pay. Couldn't make it 5,000? 5,500, no lower. I'm sold. Oh, we'd also like that doll. The store owner looks over his shoulder, focusing on Lily and the doll in her hands. His eyes narrow, and he visibly makes a moment to switch mental gears. In the process, his smile drops slightly. Ah, I guess that means that not everything in this store is a reproduction. Oh, also, if you notice some weird, like, slowy sounds, it's because I'm downloading Diablo 3, and it's lagging the shit out of my computer. And it's taking a very long time to download. Which is also the reason why I haven't done much recording, and I'm also watching Bleach, the anime series. So that's also kind of the reason why I haven't been recording much. However, back to katawa shoujo. Ah, are you quite sure that you want that doll, miss? I trust my friend's judgment. I see, no offense. None taken. If you could please wrap it for me, it would be appreciated. Yes, of course, but it's 20,000 yen. I still have no idea how much that is. Lily reaches into her purse and presents 4 crisp-looking 5,000 yen notes. Here you are, 20,000. The storekeeper dutifully takes them and the doll and proceeds to the counter. I take Lily's arm to guide her there. Are you sure about this? It's okay, I have the funds I need. As I said, I trust your judgment. I feel a little guilty in 2 fronts. Firstly, because Lily has just spent a lot of money on my recommendation, and secondly, because I have a feeling the value of my gift isn't high enough. Nevertheless, Lily does seem to somewhat awkward. Let's start that again. Nevertheless, Lily does seem to get somewhat awkward whenever the mention of money comes about. I hand the shopkeeper my present and the money for it in turn. He puts the cash into the register before busying himself with wrapping the doll and repeating the process on the chessboard. Eventually, he finishes the gift wrapping and hands us both our presents. Please be careful on your way back and do come again. Thanks. Indeed, thank you very much. The store owner bows deeply to us as we leave. Well, it did take us all day, but we found something in the end. That we did. Now that the presents are wrapped, I'm feeling a little impatient to give them to Hanako. It's a common reaction to buying gifts, wanting to see the reaction of the receiver as they discover what it is. As part of me in return, and part of me wants to return to Hanako just to confirm her condition with my own eyes. So we head back now? We've done all the walking today. We've done a lot of walking today, so I shouldn't mind taking a rest back at the dormitories. Lily's right. Now that the need to find a shop is over, my legs are feeling quite tired. Well then, back to school for us. I'm looking forward to resting for a bit. Lily holds out her arms. I link mine with hers. Together we make our way back to the bus stop. Ah, the passage of time. Matao reads equations and formulas to us one by one in his usual unenthusiastic monotone, directing from the book. It's possible that he might be excited about that he teaches us. Sometimes we can display an awkward spark of passion for it as he's starting to get into the material. Most days, however, we are like this one. What we're covering is fairly simple, so I find it interestingly difficult to keep my concentration on him. It's not too long until my legs begin aching again, which only makes it even harder. I'm almost starting to forget walking around the city yesterday with Lily. Since leaving the hospital, I've done very little physical exertion. Walking to and from the local corner store hardly counts. Despite Emmy's attempts when I first arrived in Yamako, I've largely given up the idea of returning to my old level of fitness. I have little doubts that why walking around town for so many hours has made me quite so sore. It's depressing, and it reminds me of one more thing that I can't do since I had my heart attack. It makes me feel pathetic. Now, Ikazawa. It's odd for Mitao to ask Hanako a question, but not unheard of. She quickly jumps to her feet, a little startled, and immediately pins her eyes on him. She knows that Mitao calling on her is rare, and so all eyes in the classroom are going to be on her. This way, she doesn't run the risk of making eye contact with anyone else. Yes? In this particular example of a redox reaction, the combustion of methane reaction actually produces one more product than is listed. The product is... Even though it's a softball question, she timidly waits a bit before answering, biting down slowly on her lower lip as if to keep her concentration. Heat? Well done. This is an extraordinary exothermic reaction, with the reaction giving more heat than is put into it. Receiving a nod from Mitao, Hanako takes her seat once again and gives a relieved sigh. A shaky start, but it's something. It'd be nice to take her out for her birthday, somewhere from the usual isolation of her room and the tea room. With the progress she's made until now, I don't think she'll have much of a problem going to the city. Right then, for the remainder of the class, I'd like you to work in groups of 3 or 4 on the problems in Chapter 12. I'll be here if you need me. Mitao sits down behind his desk, pulling some loose sheets of paper out of a folder and starts some kind of home paperwork of his own. I thought teachers were supposed to do that kind of thing after class, not during. Regardless, I look to my right to pick out to form a group with. Given the 2 smiling faces hovering near mine, I don't think I'm going to get much say in the matter. I suppose we have a group then. Chen, you didn't want to work together? Okay, that's great. It's really been a while. The class begins the process of noisily shuffling the desks around, with Chizune doing the same as she puts her hands in front of mine. She's a little lucky not to be able to hear the din of the classroom, which is loud enough to cause some discomfort. Truth be told, working with Chizune and Misha is probably the good outcome. Chizune and I are pretty good at the subject, and Misha has a really nice handwriting. As I look to Misha, I notice a tall figure behind her. The shadow catches Misha's attention as well, and she turns to face the dark-haired observer. Good afternoon, Hanako. Hello. I don't like this part. Chizune finally notices Hanako. After looking up and following the gaze of Misha and I in quick measure, she taps Misha on the shoulder to get her attention before signing away. Chen says, if you're looking for a group, you can join ours. Hanako looks down and blushes a little at the offer. Out of all the people in the class, Hanako is most familiar with the 3 of us, so it's reasonable that she'd come to us first. Then again, her actually coming up to the group with the intention of joining them is something she apparently very rarely did before. God damn it. She leaves briefly to drag her desk over, and Chizune and Misha will back to me as soon as her back is turned.